Well, the way I work then is I contact about 30 singers that I think would fit the album. And they can't all do it, you know. A lot of them are just too busy, or they have their own. All singers have their own priorities, you know. They have their own, so it's always hard to arrange that. Um, but once I've got them, then it's really it's strange. I write the characters on the singers, so it's not like I have the character of a diplomat, and I'm looking for someone to portray the diplomat. It's exactly the other way around. I've got Michael Erickson, who is like a really positive person. You know, he's really happy, yeah, and he's like perfect for a diplomat. Or Flora always wanted to be a biologist, you know. So in the story, she's a biologist. Once I've got that, then I record all the songs with guide singers, and I had some amazing guide singers this time, who really raised the bar for the singers. You know, some of the singers got the guide vocals, and they were like, "Oh my God, you know, that's that's pretty good. I hope I can do better." So then I sent the guide vocals to the singers, and I always tell the singers, these are the melodies that I have in mind. But please, you know, I ask you because I'm a fan of your voice, I'm a fan of your style. So please make it your own and do whatever you want, you know, change anything you like, doesn't matter. So yeah, singers are definitely, you know, an influence on the final result.
Ultimate blast will be the last, and when it's past, terribly fast, it blinds your eyes, and everybody dies.
Oh no, they never meet each other. No, that would be impossible. No, it would be impossible to have 10 singers here at the same time, you know. That because they would have to be here for a month, and that would be impossible. No. They usually they all come to my studio. On previous albums, that was the case. This album, not too many singers could come over, because you know this time, let's face it, I've got like the best singers in the world, you know. And they all come from big bands like Dream Theater and Symphony X and Nightwish, you know, and they're of course, you know, a lot of them just couldn't come over. Well, it's funny. He did not have a role on this album originally. I had the 10 singers, and I almost had a lot of the lyrics already, but I didn't have his character yet. And it basically it started when I was stuck on a vocal line in the song "Run Apocalypse Run." I kept coming back to a Rainbow song, an old Rainbow song, and I couldn't get away from it. So I contacted Mike. I said, "Mike, sorry man, can you help me? Can you make a melody for this part?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So he sent me a melody, and he sang it too, and it was all these beautiful harmonies, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so great! You know, can you sing it too?" He said, "Yeah, but yeah, sure. You know, it's a bit weird maybe if I sing like a little part on an album, but yeah, sure, I'll do it." And then he did it, and I loved it so much, and I got greedy, and then I said, "Man, I want this all over the album." It's so cool, and it's something I've never done before with AYREON. It's this whole new sound for AYREON. So then I started finding other spots for him on the album, and then we were like, yeah, but it's weird, you know. I'm singing all these harmonies with like hundreds of voices. How can I be a character? You know, one character doesn't have so many voices. I could play like a seven-headed dragon or something. And then we were thinking, well, maybe you're an android, you know, maybe you're a robot, and that's basically how I work. You know, everything is open and it's all a contingency. Everything, you know, everything can change, and everything is constantly in motion. And then suddenly his character became very important, you know, especially for the ending of the story. Could very well be. Yeah, he was. Of course, he was on Theory of Everything, and then he played. He played. Of course, he sang the parts of Devin and Mike on the theater equation, and even on Gentle Storm he played some acoustic guitar. So yeah, this guy is so incredibly talented, so much more talented than I am. So it's almost an honor for me to work with him. So yeah, it could very well be that he will always be included. Well, I had to learn that. In the past, everything was set, and I didn't want to change anything, and I want every singer to sing exactly what I did, and but I learned by working with talents who are way, or singers and musicians who are way more talented than I am, that I should really open up a little bit and not be so strict, and just let it develop, and that way you get a much better result. Well, of course, I am the control freak at the end who decides what happens, and that's a good feeling. Yeah, if someone says like, this is my price, and doesn't even comment on the music, that doesn't give a good feeling. And it's happened plenty in the past, where someone says I cost this, and like, oh, but don't you want to listen to the music? You're not a session musician. I mean, I can do that for session musicians, like classical musicians or something, who come in and read from music. But for singers, that they have to portray a character in my story, and my stories are all about emotions. They are science fiction, but they're not about people killing each other with laser guns, or not about dragons eating people. Well, I'm ashamed to say that I've never read a book in my life. It's horrible. I just don't have the patience, and I don't have the concentration and the time. And no, it all started for me when I saw Star Trek back in the '60s. It was the old series, with Kirk and Spock and Bones, and um, yes, yes. And I saw that on TV, and I was like, "What is happening?" And you have to imagine me as a little kid of 10 years old, or however old I was, seeing this guy with the weird ears on this weird blue planet with these green women, and it was like, oh, this is. I loved it so much, and so yeah, that's where it all started. If I see the art of Roger Dean, I don't know if you know him. He was the big front cover guy in the '70s. He made all these Yes covers, with the beautiful drawings. It's so amazing, that his art is so fantastic, and yeah, that does inspire me. But it's not like, oh, I look at it and I suddenly have musical ideas. It's not like that. It doesn't. I wish, then I would look at it all the time and have ideas all the time. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Well, it's a bit complex. I think if you know the story, then it's easier to explain. It's a prequel to the big AYREON story, and yeah, what can I say about it? It's back to science fiction again. It starts a long time ago on a planet called Alpha. Yeah. And this planet is facing the same problems as the Earth is facing nowadays, the same ecological, political problems, etc. And they instruct the computer, the mainframe, which is called the frame in this story, to solve the problem. And the computer simply deducts that the problem is mankind, mankind is the virus. So they decide to shut down all the life systems on the planet, which means that the inhabitants will surely die, and the only way to preserve their race would be to leave the planet in search of another planet. So that's basically the start of the story. There's two reasons for that. Firstly, I'm very bad at names. I can't remember names. It's terrible. If with my girlfriend we watch a new TV show, and they say like, well, Mark did this yesterday. I'm always like stopping it and asking Laurie like, who's Mark? Who was Mark? And who's Freddy? Really, I'm so bad at that. So that's why I don't use it myself. Second reason is if you portray a stereotype, as you said, like a good example is my album Intergalactic Castle. You have the barbarian. You don't have to explain what this guy is like. You see this Arnold Schwarzenegger, with big muscles and a club in his hand. Just don't say the wrong thing because he'll beat your brains in. So you don't have to explain the character anymore. The character is already set, which makes it a lot easier to tell the story. Because you only have 1.5 hours, and you don't have time to introduce each character. It's not possible. I'm not sure, because what is a biologist like? A biologist can be many different persons, so I'm not sure. I agree with you with someone like the captain. Okay, the captain, he's the guy in charge. And the president, he's the authority. Based on the singer. So like I have James LeBrie, and he's got such a warm, beautiful, emotive voice. And I thought it would be great if he starts the songs and he tells like the story in his, because I love his pronunciation. Maybe it's because he's Canadian. I don't know. It's just great the way he pronounces word. So I thought he would be great to tell the story. So that's why I gave him the part of the historian. Tommy Karavik he's like really on Theory of Everything. I didn't use him in a powerful way. He was more like the very fragile way. He was the prodigy and not sure of himself. So here I wanted to have a contrast. I wanted to have him be like a very strong and more aggressive character. So that's why I wrote the part of the opposition leader on him. Tobias Sammet, he's such a funny guy, and he's cocky, he's like this and that, and it was so clear for me that he would be the captain, like I always told you guys that things were gonna go wrong, and you will all follow me from now on. And yeah, I can totally imagine him being that character.
Our world is rude, no turning back. Their fate is cruel.
Well, of course, when I have one singer recorded, then I can send it to the other singer and they can react to that. But here that wasn't the case, and it fits so perfectly. I remember getting that, I got it from James a bit later, and then I sent it to Tobias, like, listen how well this works, and he was like, whoa, yeah, I'm glad you say that, because I feel the same thing there. I really hope, it's such a cliche, but I really hope people will like this album, and I'm very easy to reach. So yeah, please let me know what you think of it. Even if you hate it, it doesn't matter. Let me know. I learned from it, And so let me know what you think of it, and I hope you were able to get a ticket for the shows, and I think I already got some mails from Danish fans who got tickets. Yeah. So yeah, hope to see you there.